What's up, guys? How's it going? MikeTheTech here, and in this video we're doing something a little bit different. I recently watched the latest Eminem video, Houdini, and I was, one, very impressed because I'm a huge fan of Eminem from way back in the day. It's one of the first albums I ever purchased, but secondly because Unreal Engine is used all over the place, and it was super cool to see not only that the engine itself was used, but some familiar assets were used as well, which I'll point out as we watch the video. So before we get started, if you're watching this video, chances are you're not subscribed, because 99% of you are not subscribed, and that's a pretty bad number. So if you like this one, be sure to click on that sub or thanks button below. Let's see how long we get into the video before there's an Unreal Engine asset we could point out. All right, there's an Unreal Engine asset we could point out. So this is really, really cool in that right away we see that there's this kind of like a haunted mansion, his old, his mansion, right, where he's been living all this time. But that is actually an Unreal Engine asset in itself. If I go ahead and drag this window over here, you might notice that this is the exact same mansion. The only difference I can see here is they duplicated these chimneys and added an extra chimney here and there. But the window itself, the arches here, the front of the building itself, everything is exactly the same. And the cool thing is you can see that the lights are actually on in this example. And if we watch the video a little bit longer...
Hey, it's Paul. I was listening to the album. Good fucking luck. You're on your own.
You'll see that the lights actually turn on. So these were on in the first place with the asset, and they actually turn them off and then turn them back on for the video, which is kind of interesting.
Who's got a problem? Check this out.
Now, right away, we're given another Unreal Engine kind of scene here. We can see that we have not necessarily the city sample. I'm not sure if this one specifically is the city sample, but it's one of the cities available in Unreal Engine. We can see some of the billboards and such that don't seem to be changed from the originals. They might be, because a lot of times a lot of thought is put into music videos like this, but they do look like some of the default billboards and such that we've seen in Unreal Engine before. Secondly, this effect here could be done in After Effects, but could also be done in Niagara. But because I don't actually know the developers who made this music video or producers who made this music video, I couldn't tell you whether this is actually in Unreal or in something like After Effects or something like that. But it's definitely possible using Unreal.
Get your ass down here.
Guess who's back? 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 Guess who's back?
All right, so here we're taking a look at the two characters on the left and the right characters, people. Eminem's on the right, and Eminem, as a younger version of himself, is on the left. This is not done, as far as I know, with Metahumans, because obviously if you have the original person actually there, there's no reason to recreate them. What I think is done here is more of deepfake style technology, where they actually either had Eminem or a stand-in for Eminem, who maybe is slightly younger, do the same things and the same movements, and then just superimposed or deepfaked Eminem's younger face onto him. I'm guessing it's actually Eminem doing both parts, and then simply deepfaking the younger version of himself, sort of like a de-aging process like you'd see in movies.
Well, look what the stork run, little big.
Now this here, I actually think this is practical VFX. I don't think this is Unreal Engine or anything like that. But if it is a digital effect, that would be kind of cool to find out. But I do think this is actual practical effects.
Be ever with the forked tongue, and it's sticking out, yeah, like a sore thumb. With a forehead that it grew horns from. Still a white jerk, pulling up in a Chrysler to the cipher with the flex perks and a Bud Light shirt. Lyrical technician, an electrician, y'all light work. And I don't gotta play pretend, it's you I make believe. And you know I'm here to stay, cause me, if I was to ever take a lead, it would be aspirin to break your feet. If I was to ask for making the stallion, if she would collab with me, would I really have a shot at her feet? I don't know, but I'm glad to be back like abracadabra.
reaching my back run.
All right, and if we scroll back slightly, we can see that they have a top-down city view. This kind of effect can be done with Unreal Engine itself using Niagara. It's easy to get a lower or higher level of an asset like the city sample or any kind of cityscape at all and apply a Niagara effect to it to give it this style. I am guessing they're probably using the same thing they're using to create the city itself as they're driving through, which I do believe is the city sample. You could even see right there they sort of give a nod to it being sort of video game style, and this is very, very similar to the Night City sample with some added billboards and such. While the main car doesn't seem to be one that's included with the city sample project, it's actually not shown as destroyed or anything in the scene, and later on we're going to take a look at the other vehicles which are included at the city sample project that do get deformed.
Now back in the days of old me, right around the time I became a dope fiend, ate some codeine as a way of coping, taste the vote beat, gets case of vote eat, turned me into smiley face emoji. My shit may not be age appropriate.
Now if we scroll back just slightly, we can see that we also have a building here, and I just kind of wanted to add that not only can this be done like say this asset isn't in the city sample, you can actually get a full 3D map just like you would with Google Maps into Unreal Engine using an app called Cesium. I actually posted about this a few months ago. This example here is from Melbourne, Australia. So you can actually see that I was able to bring the actual location in to Unreal Engine with full 3D assets and textures and zoom out and see the entire city. So any city they wanted to replicate, they could simply use Cesium to bring in the 3D assets for that city and get a pretty close-up render of what it would look like from high up.
Age appropriate, but I will hit an 8-year-old in the face with a participation trophy.
I have zero doubts that this whole world's about to turn into some Girl Scouts that sends the shit girls out.
So when I started this verse, it did start off lighthearted at first, but it feels like I'm targeted, mind-boggling how my profit is skyrocketed. Look what I pocketed, yeah, the shit is just like y'all have been like jogging in. I've been running at full speed, and that's why I'm ahead like my noggin. I'm the fight y'all get in when you debate who the best, but I'm some white chalk, and when I step up to that mic, cock it in. Oh my God, it's chicken out again.
All right, so here's another scene where we can kind of see more of the city sample details and effects that they use specifically for the rooms and windows. So it's actually not a 3D room inside of those. These are square or rectangular buildings with a material that looks parallax based on what direction you're viewing it from. This is similar to what you see in games like Spider-Man when you're climbing up buildings. You'll see a lot of the same rooms, but they do look very 3D. We can see some of the duplication happening here on these two windows, which are exactly the same. We can see these two windows, which are exactly the same. These two up here have the same painting on the right, and if we continue to play slightly, we can pause again here. Let me actually rewind just 1 second. There we go. We can see that this room here is duplicated twice. We can see the same painting on the right hand side. We can also see it down here. We can see that this is actually a better view of it here. We can see this one, and this one are exactly the same. And we can see that this room here seems to be a copy of this room here. This one has a painting on the right side, and this one has a painting on the right side. So you can clearly see that this is some parallax and duplication happening here from the actual asset packs themselves. But pretty cool to see. This is very performant, looks amazing, but yeah, you can kind of see that that's the effect that they were using.
We're almost there. Why are we walking like this?
I'm about to reach in my back, bruh. Abracadabra. Poof, just like that, and I'm back, bruh. Abracadabra. I'm about to reach in my back, bruh.
Again, this scene I don't think is Metahumans. I think it's just deepfakes.
Just like that, and I'm back, bruh. Sometimes I wonder what the old me say. If he could see the way shit is today, he'd probably say that everything is gay. What's my name? What's my name?
Now, I actually noticed that this isn't a standard explosion. It's actually a stylized explosion with curls that kind of go up. So that is an effect that we can use in Unreal Engine as well pretty easily. You can also see some more window duplication happening here with these buildings. Now, I don't think this lightning is necessarily done in Unreal Engine. It could be done in After Effects, but it's definitely something that could be done in Unreal Engine using Niagara or Cascade, really.
Like me, I'm a bigger prick than cacti be, and that's why these words sting just like you were being attacked by bees in the coop, leaning back my seat. Bumping R. Kelly's favorite group, the Black Guy Peas. In my Air Max 90s, white tees, walking parental advisory. My train.
Similarly with that zoom out, Cesium does allow you to zoom all the way out and see the entire world. So this could very well have also been done in Unreal Engine itself, though it would be pretty easy to do something like this in After Effects with an actual video of the world. All right, so here's our first look at Metahumans. Metahumans are definitely being used here. You can tell with some of the lighting effects that are being used, as well as the fingers and some of the little quirks that, as a developer, you tend to notice about Metahumans. But what this tells me is that Metahumans are just as valid of any kind of other 3D asset out there. If they're being used by the top-of-the-line creators, it is definitely good enough for you to be used for you to use it as well. The way I like to think about this is a lot of times people get flack for using assets in your games. Oh, you licensed that asset? What do you mean you didn't model every rock from scratch and take pictures and photogrammetry to get the textures and do all that on your own for your game? It's not necessary. If you were a studio working on a game and you needed an asset, you would hire someone to create that asset for you. If you're an indie or a single developer, then you would license that asset from another creator, helping fund them as a creator working on those assets, and you would have it for your game and create it. Adds to the credits at the end of the game, just like any big studio would, and they work just as well and save you a lot of time. Now, what else do we notice in this scene itself? This is not just a metahuman. This is actually the subway sample from Unreal Engine, I do believe. And if we bring this up here, we can see that this is the actual subway sample being used. Let me go ahead and zoom into this. And yeah, this is the subway system. It's just a single train, but it looks really, really nice from the inside. It's got a little graffiti on it, so it looks used. Let me go back to the beginning. But this is the train I believe is being used in the video itself. If we go back to the video, we can see that this window right here is also right here. So it seems like it's definitely a part of the project. Whether I can't really confirm that, obviously, but I've also used that subway in my own projects. This was quite a while ago, a couple of years looks like, and I had used this subway project, so that's why it was very easy to recognize that right away. But yeah, I thought that was cool that they were using that asset as well. Another metahuman right here. including the very basic standard shirts that come with the Metahumans. They didn't even try to add custom ones because at the moment, or when it was created, it was actually pretty difficult. So it's kind of funny that we see some of the default clothing and body types enabled as well, but we definitely confirms that it's a Metahuman being used. Same here. This is something that you can very easily do in the Metahuman Creator, which is free, by the way. I definitely recommend you trying it out, because if you get really good at it, you might land jobs in music videos like this.
The whole world, 'cause I got it at my feet. How can I explain to you that even myself I'm a danger to? I hop on tracks like a kangaroo and say a few things that to the anger you. But fuck that, if I think that shit, I'ma say that shit. Cancel me, what? Okay, that's it. Go ahead, Paul, quit. Snake ass prick, you nail cross-dresser, fake ass bitch. And I'll probably get shit for that. But you can all suck my dick. In fact, fuck them, fuck Dre, fuck Jimmy, fuck me, fuck you. Fuck my own kids, that brats. Fuck them. Take a scoop off, them and you off. You too, Paul, got 2 balls, biggest root balls. What you thought you saw ain't what you saw. 'Cause you're never gonna see me caught sleeping. See the kidnapping, never did happen. Like Sherry Papini, Harry Houdini. I vanish into the thin air as I'm leaving like.
Trust me, I'm a great driver. Don't worry, I just got my license back.
I'm about to reach in my back.
All right, so here, we're going to go ahead and pause it again. We can see that there's some destruction that starts happening. Let's go ahead and slow this down. And as they go through here, what I see immediately is the destruction on those vehicles is nearly identical to the way that the city vehicles that are not included in the city sample project, you have to download them separately, but how they react and how they get damaged in the scene itself. So if you've ever played with the city sample vehicles, they do have destruction enabled. So if you drive around, you can crash into them, and a lot of times they fly up just like this, and the destruction does have the open backs for them as well. So I do believe that they just added the city sample vehicles as traffic and then their own custom vehicle to have them driving in. And we can even see some camera clipping there. And that's it. All that destruction looks like it's straight from the city sample projects and vehicles. And you can even see some metahumans in there. We saw the subway system assets, and we saw the haunted mansion asset used as Eminem's mansion. Super, super cool to see Unreal Engine used in a mainstream video like this. Great to see. Hope it gives you guys some inspiration to create even more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you have a good one. Peace.
With the short fuse for ignorant minds. You can learn a thing or two about a new device. Unboxing kudos, we rock that pseudo administrative elevator command. We build it up or break it down in that virtual lab. From conversations to games to interviews with a broader view. He keeps it fresh, always brings something new. It's MikeTheTech, 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 the architect, MikeTheTech, MikeTheTech, yeah, MikeTheTech, the architect.